Hey guys, welcome to another episode in the deep playthrough of Metro Exodus Enhanced Edition. We are in the second half of the previous episode. We really went into a lore part, reading up on the backstory and stuff in the diary and listening to dialogue. And now we just have a couple of minor menus to go, and then we finished everything up. So that is the creatures section. I'm not sure why there are exclamation marks here. What's this then? I can scroll down. There's more. Holy shit. I already thought it was a little bit small. Only 5 that we checked. But this plus symbol actually indicates that you can scroll down. So we have a little bit more to go. Idiot. Idiot chose his nickname out of natural humility, or perhaps simply in honor of one of Dostoevsky's characters. In fact, he's anything but, being the most educated and well-read soldier in the order. Landing the position of Miller's right-hand man back in the metro. The question is, what does he really know about the reasons for people being held in the tunnels, the war that could be still going on, as well as who is really in control of the metro. Yeah, so that are the invisible watchers, which are enforcing their control by the Hansa faction. Idiot likes talking a lot, but he never actually says much, even if you push him. Save for his usual, on one hand this could be true, while on the other, blah blah blah. If you feel that the truth is close enough to touch, talk to Idiot. He'll confuse you completely in no time. One thing about him that I don't understand at all is what could he even be looking for fighting in the Order's ranks. Alright, so this is probably a guy to keep an eye on. Alyosha. The life of every party, an avid lady killer, favorite customer of the seediest joints of Svetnoy Boulevard, and our survival on the surface instructor. After only a cursory glance, you can correctly tell if an abandoned building can last for years or is ready to collapse onto your head at the lightest touch. Which ability saved him back in Moscow more than once. Alyosha is the only member of our crew seemingly taking our journey for an exciting adventure. Probably in anticipation of new meetings with representatives of the fair sex, of course. Alyosha is the only member of our crew seemingly taking our journey for an exciting adventure. That's not really true, because Duke over here here it says in the top section, but Duke is just desperately in love with adventure. Whenever the colonel asks for volunteers, Duke is always first to shout me, no matter how hard. Yeah, so Duke is an adventurer as well, so I'm not really sure why it's here mentioned that Alyosha is the only member of our crew seemingly taking our journey for an exciting adventure. Duke does as well. But anyways, that's Alyosha. Then we have Sam, is one of the Order's best. He might not be the strongest, fastest, or the best marksman we have, but he can certainly hold his own in a match with Spartan champions in each of these areas. And he definitely is the most unusual of us. But he can certainly hold his own in a match with Spartan champions in each of these areas, and he definitely is the most unusual of us. Sam is an American, a Marine from the US Embassy's Guards detail, who just happened to be in the metro when the Judgment Day came. Isn't Judgment without the middle E? I'm not sure. Eventually ending up as Colonel Miller's personal bodyguard. Sam had to sit the battle for D6 out on the account of staying in a hospital with a serious wound, and was really hard on himself for not being there to protect the Colonel when he was needed the most. As soon as he was back on his feet, still all bandaged, Sam would refuse to leave the Colonel's side no matter what. He wouldn't even let anybody else push Miller's wheelchair. Even when Andrew the blacksmith made the amazing prosthetics the Colonel has been wearing ever since. Sam remained Miller's shadow and of course joined us aboard the Aurora. He wouldn't even let anybody else push Miller's wheelchair, even when Andrew made prosthetics. So then the Colonel has prosthetics, but Miller still wants him in the wheelchair to pushing him around. It doesn't really make sense, but whatever. All of us, the crew members, are going somewhere. To some kind of destination, as Yermak puts it. Who was Yermak again? That's him. Even though none of us know where the destination would be, Sam though seems to know the place. If the world outside of Metro is not wiped out, there must be survivors in the US. And Sam can't stop thinking about his parents who might still be alive, waiting for their son. I wonder if he feels he's traveling in the right direction with us. Stepan, in day-to-day life, Stepan is so calm and nice, it's hard to believe he is a member of the Order. We are a military organization after all. Once you see this giant in battle, though, you immediately see the reason for him being here. Stepan is completely fearless and amazingly strong. He handles a heavy machine gun as if it were a regular assault rifle. We're lucky to be on Stepan's side. Having him as an enemy would be a disaster. Yes, he looks pretty fearsome. Tokarev, partial to the creations of the famous gun designer he shares the family name with. Tokarev, partial to the creations of the famous gun designer he shares the family name with, is a man in love with his craft. He's constantly busy with the crew's weapons, repairing, maintaining them, and making improvements. Tokarev knows everything there is to know about weapons and even more, and can talk about them for hours, but is not really interested in much else. Knows everything there is to know about weapons and even more, and can talk about them for hours, but is not really interested in much else. Still, he doesn't just care for our firepower, but also works on our gear, constantly adjusting and inventing new things, laboring day and night to make sure we all perform to the best of our ability without being hindered by inferior equipment. What would we do without him? On a side note, he seems to be quietly and hopelessly unrequitedly in love with my Anna. He's always worried about her, thinking of her, talking about her, but I can't even bring myself to feel jealous. Pretty funny. Alright, did I read all the scrolls as well? Maybe this one I did not. But now he's free just like the rest of us, and if we ever come back to Moscow, we'll settle our scores with Hanseatic leadership altogether. Yermak says that every man has a destination in life, a place where the fate leads him to. And whenever life becomes hard, sometimes unbearable, so I always recall his words. This might be the end of the line, but it is still not your destination. Get up, walk on. Thank you, Yermak. Yeah, that last part we missed earlier. The Juke. Nothing down below. Here, nothing. Here we can scroll down. We read everything here. We read everything there. There's only one thing I want to make a learning moment. It says, and I dragged the last sentence, his daughter, into a maelstrom none of us might ever emerge from. I know what a maelstrom means, but not what the exact definition is. Let's look that up. Powerful whirlpool in the sea or a river. Alright, so it's like a whirlpool. What's a whirlpool? How do you define that? One second. A quickly rotating mass of water in a river or sea into which objects may be drawn, typically caused by the meeting of conflicting currents. Alright. So a maelstrom is, I think, somewhat the same as a whirlpool. Alright, we got all the characters down. Let's check the diary whether I can also scroll down here. No. The new worlds. Yeah, we read everything over here. Creatures. This is where we left off in the previous episodes. Or at least I thought so. I overlooked the extra characters we just read. Watchman. These annoying beasts hunt in packs, and if you see one you better dispose of it immediately, otherwise it might howl and call in the rest of the pack, and it will howl as soon as it sees you. Alright, that's a good tip. They actually alert each other via howls. Demons, that are the flying ones. These giant flying mutants comfortably occupying the position of the apex predator in the food chain of the poisoned wasteland, stretching above the tunnels of Moscow Metro, have, thanks to their enormous physical strength, speed and aggressive demeanor, successfully settled a huge territory. That is hardly surprising, as there are very few animals capable of ever facing a demon. Those that could fight it one-on-one and win are even fewer and further between. While a demon can easily fly away from any of them. Luckily, because of these strengths, the demons, like the large birds of prey of the past, prefer to live and hunt alone or in very small groups, and thus do not present an immense threat to a careful traveler. Alright, dogs. The common dogs seem to be no match for the messed up world of the surface. But they manage to survive despite being surrounded by mutants and human enemies, so they definitely are a threat to be considered, especially when you consider their keen senses and ability to easily alert their masters to your presence. Alright, equipment. Gas mask. A gas mask was vital in Moscow. You couldn't even hope to go outside without one, and it often came in handy even in tunnels. Think of the mushroom fields, especially when the fresh fertilizer was being piled in. I had hoped I'd be able to get rid of it on the surface, but it looks like that was just a pipe dream. There are lots of places here where this stuffy thing becomes a necessity. A bracer. The bracers all Spartans wear are not an important piece of armor, but still routinely save our lives. They are used to mount such vital pieces of equipment as Geiger counters, warning us of dangerous radiation hotspots, and watches, necessary for keeping track of gas mask filter usage. The watch is combined with another gadget that, despite its tiny size, is also vitally important. The light indicator. Many a time its blue light hinted me to find a better shaded hiding spot to remain stealthy. Lighter. This piece of trench art I got from Sukai has been with me through a lot, but its value is far from just sentimental. I always rely on it whenever I need to start a campfire, find my way out of a dark tunnel by following the faintest draft. You can look into the draft direction to look for the way out. Go through a spider bug lair. Yeah, you can also burn spider webs with it. Spider cobs, and want to get rid of their cobwebs, or simply need a backup light source. And it never fails. Alright, one other tiny learning moment. What the hell is the difference between a web and a cob? Web versus cob. Spiderweb is used to refer to a web that is apparently still in use, whereas cobweb refers to abandoned, i.e. dusty webs. However, the word cobweb is also used by biologists to describe the tangled three-dimensional web of some spiders of the family Theridiidae. Alright, cobweb is an abandoned spider web. Little learning moment of the day. Spartan suits really looks like Fallout 4, but better, more gritty, more realistic. The Spartan suit is not just a uniform all members of our order wear. The suits provide a considerable degree of environmental protection, which, when combined with a gas mask, allows Spartans to be reasonably safe during prolonged sorties to the surface. The suits also accommodate a modicum of armor and padding, ensuring, when combined with an armored vest, flexible and reliable protection that can be easily configured for heaviest of engagements or reconnaissance missions, when swiftness of movement becomes the main priority. Right, weapons. Holy shit, the Kalash. Despite the venerable age of this weapon, which before the Judgment Day had played a considerable part in hundreds of conflicts all over the world, its unparalleled reliability and considerable firepower make it a prized possession in the tunnels of the metro, and of course on the surface. A standard Kalash is simply a solid assault rifle with all its characteristics, pros and cons, but thanks to the talent of Sparta's gunsmiths and Tokarev personally, the model order fields can accommodate a huge variety of upgrades, from extended magazine to various sights. Not only that, with a few simple operations and spare parts, it can be turned into a weapon of a different class. From a short machine pistol that excels at close range to a light machine gun. This does not mean that the underlying concepts, simplicity and reliability, have been sacrificed either, even though my Kalash is many years my senior, it saved my bacon on many an occasion and would shoot like nothing happened, even after taking a dip in the marsh. Alright, it's a bit of a confusing sentence. This does not mean that the underlying concepts, simplicity and reliability, have been sacrificed either. Even though my Kalash is many years my senior, it saved my bacon on many an occasion and would shoot like nothing happened, even after taking a dip in the marsh. Weapons are sometimes we people are definitely good at making. They will probably be ready to kill years after there remains nobody on the face of the planet capable of pulling the trigger. Interesting thought. A shambler. What would be the Achilles heel of a shotgun? The long reload cycle, perhaps. And to remedy that, it looks like the designer of this monstrosity was ready to sacrifice anything, reliability, simplicity, even the common sense. Still, in terms of sheer firepower, this cross between a meat grinder and a lawnmower is second to none, and Tokarov says that despite its freakish looks, it won't explode in my arms in the nearest future. Of course, if I exercise necessary caution and clean it regularly. I guess I'll pretend I believe him. Alright, revolver. In the metro, where ammo is worth its weight in gold, a weapon's reload speed is usually a distant second or even third priority, while its reliability and simplicity become critical. Humidity, dust, poor quality handmade ammunition. Pulling a revolver trigger the second time when it misfires is much faster than fixing a feed failure in an automatic pistol. And in the confines of the tunnels, enemy might deny you the time needed for that altogether. That's why the armory station started producing copies of ancient revolvers. Soon they learned that even 7 bullets sometimes are not enough to stop a charging Nozalis, so they had to switch to a more powerful and exotic, for Russia, 44 Magnum caliber. A hit with one of these is usually enough to kill a mutant on the spot. And that is exactly why such revolvers were a welcome addition to the Spartan Order's arsenal. Besides, due to the fact that they retained the Nagent revolver's gas sealing mechanism, they can be fitted with suppressors and modifications introduced by our gunsmiths let them accommodate any other add-ons, from carbine type stocks to night vision sights. Alright, again quite a confusing sentence. And that is exactly why such revolvers were a welcome addition to the Spartan's order's arsenal. Besides, due to the fact that they retained the ancient revolver's gas sealing mechanism, they can be fitted with suppressors, and modifications introduced by our gunsmiths let them accommodate any other add-ons. From carbine type stocks to night vision sights. Alright, it's just me not getting it. I think it's an okay sentence. A decoy, an improved noise decoy, attracts attention of humans and beasts alike with the loud rattling noise it produces. Throwing knives, the perfect stealthy short-range weapon. The throwing knives are cold wrought by many a blacksmith throughout the metro from spring steel. Right, that is everything in this booklet. Alright, you can also drink something. Let's see if we can get drunk. Nothing in there anymore. Let's put on some music.
A few days later, I was coming back from a run. Stopped the train, went and found those people. Soon they understood I saw that ravine. Fed me the usual lies about the spies and whatnot.
Did you believe them?
Well, it sure seems safer to believe. But then, I just couldn't keep the charade up. Then the security officer told me straight. Whoever you speak to dies. The whole station dies with him if need be. So, that's how it went. But when I saw you, and then Artyom, I knew I wasn't alone anymore. You can't just keep these things in.
Now I understand why you helped us back then. Thank you.
Don't mention it. God willing, it won't end up being done in vain.
Yes. Have you ever taken a train beyond city borders?
No.
Holy shit, what was that?
After all those years in the underground, the air of the surface seemed incredibly fresh,
God
intoxicating.
damn it!
But that was not what
I
had caused the
accidentally
crew's
pressed
euphoria.
the D-pad.
Our journey finally got a definite
wanted to
purpose
explore
provided
that-
by the transmission from a government
so
bunker
annoying.
in the Urals. For 20 years we thought that neither the government nor military high command had survived. Turns out they're still around. Where
God
were they
damn it.
while we were eating each other alive?
Alright, let's... fuck. I wanted to still explore that train. I'm collectible hunting. Sure, there's a collectible in the train somewhere. God damn it. Yeah, so probably let's just leave it. The Volga. This is... maybe I can just go over here. That would be nice. Otherwise, I would have just replayed it.
How are you, Alyosha?
Oh, Anna, I was expecting an arrow from a cupid, but I got a bullet from an ugly motherfucker instead.
Alright, so over here you get...
You sure you're okay? Because I know you.
I will check that out later.
Just so you know, scars attract the ladies.
And there's definitely a lot of those up ahead.
I don't need a lot, really. It's quality that matters.
Artyom, a couple of words.
You see, there is a lot of dialogue here still.
Artyom, what's done is done. Yes, I didn't stop you from going outside. Yes, I tried to talk you out. Yes, I didn't tell you you're not the only ones to survive. But even I didn't have the clearance. Not back then. This is a state secret. Do you understand? I've been granted clearance only after our fight to protect the D6. They said they needed me to teach their recruits because the war was still on. Don't you think I was shocked? What did our people in D6 die for? What did I lose my legs for? But I understood. Because the war was still on. Security was paramount. Our people would have understood. So please, do the same. You would have spilled the beans to everyone in Metro. You're a goddamn Prometheus, a messiah. You must lead the people out of the caves. Do you think you would have saved anyone? Remember that jammer? What if Moscow has been found out because of you? What if there are missiles inbound? Anyways, no matter what they think of me, I'm no deserter and will never become one. I'm ready to bear full responsibility for everything. But if there is even the smallest chance to earn my pardon, I will take it. Which means that we, like a runner that tripped, need to keep running ever faster just to keep balance. And don't dare you trip us all over again. Am I understood? I hope I am. Anyway, at least now we know where to run. So, go back inside and take a look at the map. Our route is pretty obvious now.
Alright, I don't really get him. On the one hand, he's defending those Hansa guys and the shadow government, keeping all Moscow oblivious of the fact that the world is simply an okay place. And at the same time, he wants to earn his pardon from them, but he also wants to get to the Ark. It's like the overarching objective, I think, some kind of a settlement, and then take the fight back to the shady government. I really find his motives are a bit double.
How long have you been working with those jammer people for?
About a year, I guess. At first, they got me to sign up by singing of my experience helping people. Told me about weather stations and mutant migration observers. I was proud to be helping those. Then, about 2 months ago, they loaded a bunch of people onto my Aurora. The guards took them outside and came back alone. Told me they took the people to a nearby station, but I knew it had caved in years ago. A few days later, I was coming back from a run. Stopped the train, went and found those people. Soon they understood I saw that ravine. Fed me the usual lies about the spies and whatnot.
Did you believe them?
Well, it sure seems safer to believe. But then, I just couldn't keep the charade up. Then the security officer told me straight. Whoever you speak to dies. The whole station dies with him if need be. So, that's how it went. But when I saw you, and then Artyom, I knew I wasn't alone anymore. You can't just keep these things in.
Now I understand why you helped us back then. Thank you.
Don't mention it. God willing, it won't end up being done in vain.
Yes. Have you ever taken a train beyond city borders?
No. Didn't get a chance to go. I used to be a metro train engineer. I worked on the ring line. Ha! What a bore that was. Going round and round all day, round and round. And no real distance either. It used to take less than 30 minutes to make the lap. So I kept dreaming about how good it would be to just leave the metro and work on a real railroad. Travel around Russia, not to run in circles like a rat in a maze. My wife wouldn't let me. We had kids, too. When I'd start going on about the railroad, about my dream, she'd stop sleeping with me for months in protest. Yes. But when Moscow got hit, my Tatiana and little Sashenka were at home. I was working that day. Irishka was waiting for me in the metro. returning from cram school. So we survived together that day. But in the end, I lost her too. TP. And you know how it goes. So, I'm driving here and talking to Tatiana in my head. See, I say, you couldn't stop me for good after all. Here I am, on a real railroad. A real engineer. Tanyusha. I'm sorry I got so emotional there.
Oh, it's my fault. I'm really sorry. And thank you for telling me.
The dialogue is pretty.
Look at him. You should at least get some of that fresh air. No mask. This is what you've always dreamed about.
NPC dialogue is very extensive and pretty interesting, I must say. Alright, let's quickly mark everything as red again, because I, of course, restarted this section. Let's drink our whiskey again. And then I think it's this button. So we read this one, we read that one. Reread all these. New worlds reread, creatures reread, equipment reread, weapons we read. So now whenever we see a new exclamation mark, we know it's genuinely new. And then let's put on some music. No. Damn it.
Attention! This is the Special Restoration Committee speaking from the Ark Project base. Everyone who can hear me, everyone still loyal to the cause. Proceed to the rally point. Rally point location is code 1811-79. Area 18-5. I repeat, proceed to the rally point.
Right.
16, come in. 16 here. We just sighted a group of targets with 2 vehicles moving toward the position. They'll be there in about 40. Roll out the red carpet. Copy that, 102. Will you be ready to cut them off if they retreat along the same route? The machine gun is in position already. We're going to throw a wire post and add a few claymores to that just to make sure. Copy, 102. Over and out.
You found it! Thanks, RTM. The mood improved instantly.
Yesterday, though, we had a huge bang. Was that you guys having fun? Not us. It was Unit 13. Unit 13? We thought it was the war again. What kind of spy did they catch that warranted blowing up the warhead of doom? It was not a spy. It was them. Their train got blown up. Do you know Miller, the Spartan colonel? Sure I do. They get him too? No, he got out of Moscow. Turned out to be a spy. As far as I know, he learned he'd been discovered, so he stole a train and ran to his masters before our guys could nab him. Shutting a jammer down, burning a fuel depot, and an ammo dump on the way. Imagine the damage in mil-grade ammo alone. And that armored train too. Unit 13 went to intercept them, but looks like they fell into a trap. I'll be damned. What happens now? Well, it might be for the best. They did uncover the enemy mole, so now I imagine they'll net his whole network. Heads will roll. Yeah, I can see that happening. Yeah, we should probably cut this chat too, just in case. If you're right. Well, over and out.
Just checking out the stations, also for some backstories. It's quite interesting to learn that indeed there will be some, of course, repercussions.
Attention all observation posts. 2-1 here. Report your situation.
For General
430 here. Nothing
Miller
report.
leaving.
No activity in the sector since the last session. 130, acknowledged. 135 reporting. Same situation here. No activity in sector. Got that. 140 reporting. We're observing the watchmen starting their seasonal migration. Other than that, no activity. Acknowledged 140. They're a bit early this year. It's rather warm now. Yep. 145, what's your situation? Nothing to report here, really. You should be happy about that. Yes, sir. Carry on. 2-1 to all posts. Continue observation. Report any developments at once. Roger that. Roger. Roger, 2-1. Good. 2-1, over and out. Here, any new development? Another car moving toward your position. Do we take it out? Could they notice you? Not unless they stop. Permission to open fire? Negative on that. That would alert the first two. Let them through and create that barricade behind them. We'll meet them on the way back if they avoid us. Roger that, 1-6. Good acting. 1-6, over and out. Code 1811-79. Five. Only by standing together shall we overcome any and all obstacles.
Alright, that was the ARC base. I think we heard them all. I'm just curious whether there are more frequencies. Here, there are 2 music frequencies. But that is like the mellow music, and over here is more the disco music. Right, that's about it. Let's just put on the music. And this is a good moment, I would say, to end the episodes and continue immediately in the next one. I will be going outside, talk to that guy for a sec over there and go downstairs. And then we will be heading out into what I think is called Volga, the next outdoor section. It's a pretty beautiful section. Yeah, not very action-packed again, but yeah, I do get, or we get, a much better grasp on the world and the intricacies and the specifics of the situation. So I think it's worth it. Guys, hope you still enjoyed it somewhat. I hope to see you in the next one. For the meantime, do not forget, always do keep on gaming. See you later.